Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, 6 Steps to Overcoming the Digital Crisis That's Killing Your Dealership. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, and we're best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. DealerOn was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2012 and 2013. At NADA, DealerOn received the Best in Show Award for website design from Dealer Marketing Magazine. And oh my goodness, DealerOn customers have been winners of the Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards, highly coveted overall winner, 5 times in a row. We're the only website company that can claim that. DealerOn is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So, does your website company guarantee you leads? Well, then maybe you should check us out at DealerOn.com. And we have such a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Kevin Frye as our presenter today. Kevin Frye is the e-commerce director of the Jeff Wyler Automotive family, one of the top 50 dealership groups in the United States. He's been a leader in the industry with the use of video and video SEO, social media, mobile, website design, and managing your online reputation. Before his work with Jeff Wyler, Kevin was an independent business owner who pioneered selling cars online for both dealerships and individual consumers, selling over 500 cars on eBay in just 1 year alone. Kevin was a naval aviator for 8 years with extensive flight hours in Desert Shield and Operation Southern Watch, as well as over 200 combat hours in Desert Storm. He has used the leadership skills he learned in the Navy to keep the Jeff Wyler Automotive family at the leading edge of automotive e-commerce. Jeff is an accomplished speaker, and he can be reached at kevin.frye@jeffwyler.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature. It's located on the corner of your screen, and from there you can submit them. Now, at the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we'll respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of the webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And guess what, audience? Our good friend, Kevin Frye, is giving away a fantastic prize today on the webinar. One of you lucky webinar attendees will win Kevin's favorite toy while growing up in the 70s. Today, you will have a chance to win an authentic Evel Knievel stunt cycle. This might be a great gift to share with the kids at Christmas, and let's be honest, it would be a hit in the dealership showroom on a slow day. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, so stay tuned for details after Kevin's presentation, and you could be walking away with this awesome prize today. Also, at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. Please fill it out, because we're always looking for great feedback from you, our valued audience. Today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started. Let's learn 6 steps to overcoming the digital crisis that's killing your dealership. Kevin Frye, I have only been stalking you for the better part of 6 months to get you on my webinar program, and I'm so glad the day is finally here. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun today.
Oh, I bet we will, especially with that prize. People are already writing in saying, oh, pick me, pick me. We also have some people writing in saying thank you for your service. So on behalf of everyone here in attendance today, Kevin Frye, thank you for your service. Belated Happy Veterans Day. And to you also, all of you out there in webinar land, thank you if you were a service member as well. Now, before we get started, Kevin Frye, you're scaring me. What is this about this digital crisis that's killing our dealerships? What are we going to be talking about today?
Well, if you've seen me before, I'm typically a little bit different format than your average speaker, which probably ties into me giving away an Evel Knievel stunt cycle versus an iPod or something like that. But I can tell you, after the end of this presentation, I'm going to be able to show you exactly what your digital customers are looking for and expecting from you. And I think I'm going to surprise some people with how simple that can be. I'm also going to identify the digital crisis that is slowly killing dealerships today. And I'm going to take some time to build up to that, but it's going to be worth it. And then ultimately, I'm going to teach you how to successfully sell to digital customers. And anytime throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, please type them into that corner box. We'll handle those at the end unless Eliana sees something that seems to be pretty important. And I'm sure at that point she can jump in and interrupt me, and we'll go from there.
That sounds like a lot that we need to cover today, Kevin. Take it away.
All right. Well, as I said, I always start out a little bit different. And many of you are already thinking, how in the world is he starting out with Chris Rock in the 1997 MTV Music Awards? Well, if you remember back then in that 97 Music Awards, that was the first year that Chris Rock hosted that event. And Chris Rock is well known for being a very outspoken individual. And this was probably my favorite MTV Music Awards because I remember at the beginning, in his opening monologue, he made this statement: don't make no plans to see somebody here next year because a lot of y'all ain't going to be here next year. That's how the music business is. Here today, gone today. And while he was saying this, the camera was panning the front couple rows of the crowd at the musical artist, and you could see kind of that nervous laughter that was going on. So when I looked back in this, I thought to myself, if I were to go back and look at who was there that night, where are they now? So Eliana, you're my live audience here. Tell me if you know who these people are. Do you remember who that is?
No.
That's Jamiroquai. He had this really well-known video at the time. He's always known for wearing the black top hat. He doesn't have it there. I think Slash took it from him, and that's why he's been so successful. I think it was Frosty's magical hat. But Jamiroquai kind of had his 1 year, and sure enough, like Chris said, he wasn't really much to be seen after that. How about these?
Oh, well, they're the Spice Girls.
The Spice Girls. They had a pretty good run there.
Ooh.
You know him? That's Beck.
Oh, that's Beck. I'm a loser,
And
baby.
then my last one, it's funny, is when I put this together, I'm like, nobody's heard of this person for 20 years. And then out of the blue, she gets arrested this year for, unfortunately, her tour bus got pulled over in Texas, and they found some things on the bus she shouldn't have. That's Fiona Apple.
Oh, my goodness. I would have never guessed.
There is a name for this. There's a name for these people that typically have one big song and then go away. Do you know what that is?
A one-hit wonder, baby.
One-hit wonder, that's right. And so I know a lot of people laugh and they think, yeah, one-hit wonders. But then I want to point the finger back to you as a dealer and ask you this. Where will you be in 10 years? Will you be surviving and thriving in the future market? Or will your dealership be dead because you failed to adapt to the changes that are going on out there? And that is what I'm going to be teaching you today. I'm going to teach you the digital crisis that is slowly killing your dealership. But more important, I'm going to teach you 6 steps so that you don't end up like that dealership on the right, but you look like that one on the left. But as I move forward, I'm going to share a story, a sad story from the 70s. That I grew up in a large family. There was 5 kids. We didn't have a lot of money, and there was something I always wanted. I always wanted one of those really cool 70s lunch boxes. You know, one from like one of my favorite TV shows, like the $6 Million Man. And I remember running around acting like I was in slow motion, pretending I was Colonel Steve Austin. Another one of my boyhood heroes, Evel Knievel. Unfortunately, I still have some dental work today from a bike stunt that gone wrong trying to emulate my hero, Evel Knievel. But the one I really wanted, my boyhood hero, was this guy here, the Fonz. I wanted that really cool Happy Days lunchbox, and I asked my mom for that over and over again. Well, one morning I get up for school, and my mom says, Kevin, I've got a surprise for you. I got you a new lunchbox. And you can imagine how excited I was as I sat there and waited thinking, which one of these 3 bad boy lunchboxes I'm going to get. And then imagine the look in my face when this is what she gave me. This is the Tupperware Dorkmaster 1200 series lunchbox. Because apparently My mom had been at the Tupperware party the night before in the neighborhood, got extorted into buying this thing that probably cost 3 times more than the pressed tin lunchbox that I wanted. Well, the nightmare didn't end there, because then I slowly realized I'm going to have to take this thing to school. And this thing's so doggone fruity, I was going to have to kick my own rear end when I got off the bus. Well, I didn't want to take it, and there's something else I got to share about the 70s. Dads in the 70s didn't just wear belts to hold their pants up. So unfortunately, I had to carry that lunchbox around for a few years. And when I originally did this presentation, I gave away some lunchboxes. Today we're going to do Evel Knievel that kind of tied into that. But one of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to share some traits of some of my 70s heroes. And the first one is Evel Knievel. And in fact, that toy there on the left that I'm giving away today was my favorite toy as a kid. And I'm going to put on a video clip here. This does not have sound, but I'm going to play it and tell you what I remember about Evel Knievel. Now, with Evel Knievel, he'd always have some death-defying jump. Of course, it would always be followed by some spectacular crash like we see here. And let's face it, deep down, that's a big part of the reason we wanted to see the stunts. And afterwards, there would be an interview, and Evel would always say, "I will never jump again." And of course, 6 months or a year ago or later, he would jump again because he needed the money. Now, here is his most famous stunt. He was going to jump Snake River Canyon with a rocket-powered motorcycle. Now, looking back, if you can take a rocket all the way to the moon, I don't see what would be so big about that. But unfortunately, things didn't work out. The chute deployed early. And in fact, there are some conspiracy theorists that say that Evel chickened out and pulled that parachute early. And that's fighting words where I come from. But at the end of the day, the trait that Evel had that we as dealers can use was that he was a risk taker. So let's move forward. And I'm going to talk about the build-up to our current crisis. And as we see here, we're at the local horse dealership a little bit over 100 years ago, because before there was car dealers, there were horse dealers. And I've got a sales manager and a salesman, and they're looking at a green pea salesman that tried to skate a deal. And, well, let's just say that justice at the horse dealership is a little bit more rigid today for skating. But I imagine a conversation they had at that local horse dealership. And I bet it went something like this. "Well, Slim, you know, I heard about this new thing called the automobile, and they say it's going to put us out of business." And his manager said, "Bo, the horse has been the primary mode of transportation for thousands of years. There's no way that's going to happen. Let's just keep doing what we've always been doing, and everything will be all okay." And then I wonder, 10 years later, when they looked at their dealership and it looked like this, and they realized that maybe it wasn't just the horses wearing the blinders, it was them wearing the blinders as well to the change in our market. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that catalyst of change in our market has been the Internet. It has completely turned around the way we do business. And the reason why is that the Internet has leveled the playing field for information. Before, the dealer held the power of information. With the Internet, the power has shifted to the customer. And I'm going to share a real quick story with you about my uncle who served in Vietnam. He did some really hard time. He came back, he had little money, but he had an old pickup truck. And he started a business. And what he would do is he would buy and resell antiques. And he would buy them in the Midwest, and he grew a big business because he could resell these same antiques in California and double and triple his money. Well, he did very well with that until the Internet came around. Because when the Internet came online, people in California realized very quickly that they could find and buy these antiques directly at half to one-third the cost. That leveling of information turned the world upside down for him. Well, what has happened for us today with the power shifting to the customer is that if we want to sell successfully to today and our future car customers, you must understand what they are thinking, what they are doing, and what they want. And that is the answer to your dealership's future survival, is whether you will adapt and dominate in that new market or fade away like that old horse dealer. So you should be asking yourself this: Kevin, how do we know what our car shoppers are thinking and doing? Well, I mean, you don't have to have ESP. I'm going to teach you a couple tricks, but the nice part about modern technology is you know what they're doing, because we can look at Datium, JD Power, but most easily, Google Analytics, you can see where they're going on your website, what pages, how long, the shopping patterns. We know what they're doing. But how do we know what they're thinking? I'm going to play a movie trailer for you. This is from the movie Suckers, about car dealers, to give you an idea of what people think about car dealers. Now, the video might run a little slow because we're doing a webinar, but I'm going to turn up the volume. We're going to go ahead and play this right now.
Bobby's a nice guy in a tough spot. I will work my ass off to get us out of this hole. You know that. He owes a bundle to a couple of bone-breaking loan sharks. And is getting pressure from his wife Donna to get a job.
What do I have to do to explain to you that we are broke?
Are you idiots paying attention? Enter Reggie, the sensitive sales manager of the Southside Car dealership. Why would I buy a car from you? Love me. He trains his sales force to do anything. And buries them all! This is a great car. I mean anything. Are you going to buy this car on to sucker every last cent out of the innocent victims that come onto his lot. It's never enough. But Reggie isn't only dealing in cars. And Bobby's loan sharks are calling in their loans. We've been waiting for you to get home. That's when all hell breaks loose. If you think they're low-life scum when they're selling you a car, you should see them in their off hours. Louis Mandaloff, Lori Loughlin, and Daniel Gonzalez. Suckers, trust me, you're getting...
Oh my gosh, did you catch that last line? If you think they're low-life scum when they're selling you cars, you should see them in their off hours. Well, I actually spend a lot of time with car people in their off hours. They're some of the most fun people to go out with. But let's be honest, that's Hollywood, right? We can laugh about that. That's not what car shoppers really think about us, right? Well, I'm going to show you a neat little trick that many of you have probably not thought about it. And if you know that most car shoppers start their search at Google, you can use that as a tool. Because Google has a feature called autocomplete, so that when you're starting to search for something, it's going to finish the search for you based on millions of real searches that take place every day. So if you start searching terms of what car shoppers feel about dealers, you can see what they're looking for. Now, if you want to do this yourself, just clear the cache in your browser, set your location, and search. But what I've done for you is I've made a video of some example searches. And I want you to watch this closely to see what shows up in the autocomplete, because that's going to give you a picture of what car shoppers think about us. boy, it doesn't look too good.
Oh my
You
gosh,
note
and
that
that's
last one was waiting at the dealership. What the hell is taking so long?
wow,
We're going
and
to build upon that.
that's
Did
crazy.
that
That's from
surprise you,
Google
Eliana?
Complete. That is nuts.
It is nuts. And unfortunately, what you're seeing there is a reflection of old school sales patterns that we've had for years, because when we held the power of information, every old school sales tactic is about withholding the information. And that has led to tactics and approaches that people have felt to be deceptive and manipulative, and that's why you see those types of feelings when you do a Google autocomplete. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's presentation, and I'm going to start with the 6 steps. And the first step is this: deliver what they expect from you. And my question to you, the one you should ask yourself, is what message are you sending, if any, on what your customers should expect if they're going to have an online buying experience with you? And most of you have not tried to give that message or show it on your website. You're just listing inventory and specials. Well, let me give you an example of what we do here at the Jeff Wyler Automotive family. This is a welcome video that is on the homepage of each of our websites, and we also utilize in our lead, working our lead process.
Hello, I'm David Wyler, and I want to thank you for visiting us online. We have a dedicated group of professionals specifically trained to meet your request. As the highest online consumer-rated dealer in our region, I'm completely confident that you'll not only get the best deal, but you'll also get the best internet experience available. So I invite you to experience just how easy it is to buy a new or used vehicle here online through our internet team. Would you like a price? Well, we'll give that to you. You want information on your trade? We'll give that to you as well. Do you want to schedule a service appointment? We can set that up at your convenience. My internet team is here to make your online visit as smooth as possible. Thank you again for visiting us, and let us have the opportunity to earn your business.
So there's actually 2 elements to this. Because for those of you that are communicating on your virtual dealership, your website, what customers can expect from you, it's also important that you deliver on your promise. Because I don't have enough fingers to count the dealers that promote and market that they have a hassle-free internet process, and when you work with them, it's nothing more than old school sales tactics just being used online. So that's our first step, is to deliver what they expect from you. Our second step is going to be change your image. And this is going to be a short clip from one of my favorite shows, Seinfeld, and the episode called The Dealership.
Hey, where were you? Let's finish this up. Did you two break up? That chick's whacked. For history. Just left out a couple of things. Rust proofing. Rust proofing? Transport charge, storage surcharge, additional overcharge, finder's fee. Finder's fee was on the lot. Yeah, that's right. And floor mats, keys. Keys? We'll get started.
Additional overcharge. I think that would be a good one to build up your gross. Well, let's talk about this. Change your image. I'm going to show you several ways, but I want to open your eyes to something if you haven't learned about this. Because there's a little page in your website that used to get no traffic at all. And if you get in your analytics, you're going to be surprised at how that has grown. And that is your staff page. Because what is happening now online is that these people shopping you stealthily are not only starting with identifying the car and narrowing down to the dealership they want to buy from, they're going to your staff page and looking at pictures and descriptions and choosing the person they want to work with when they come in. And we already see this every day where we have people come in asking for salespeople that have never spoke to them. But this opens up another problem. When's the last time you looked at the pictures on your staff page or being used in your CRM tool? Because most CRM tools allow salespeople to upload their photos. And they think, you know what, if the picture is good enough to be a profile picture on Facebook, well, I'll just upload that in my CRM photo. And You end up getting a picture of perhaps what they did the previous weekend with their friends, something inappropriate, maybe a crazy selfie, or of course doing the duck lips. But I'm going to tell you the #1 offense that I see in dealership website staff pages. And it goes like this. It's Saturday morning, and the sales manager calls everybody in and says, all right, folks, I need to update our photos for the CRM and website, line up against the wall, and that's what the pictures look like. America's Most Wanted. Now let me ask you a question. If we have an image problem and you're trying to change the image of the lying, conniving car salesman, do you think it helps when you put up pictures that look like a bunch of convicts? One very simple thing you can do today and change. Well, let's look at some other ways you can change your image. Your online reputation is a great way to work because with DealerRater and a lot of these different review sites, you can leave or interact with the customers to try and work and manage that online reputation. Professional standards. I can tell you with the Jeff Weiler Automotive family, we have strict policies that include zero tolerance for tobacco or profanity in the showroom floor. Why? Because we don't want that stereotypical image of the car salesman sitting out in the lot with a cigarette and a cup of coffee. And then one of the greatest things you have today, believe me, this can be your friend, is social media. Social media is a great way to personalize your dealership and change that image to be that of a dealer they want to do business with. Now, I'm going to share with you an example of a customer we had, a young man in the military that visited our Eastgate Auto Mall. And he indicated he needed that car fixed at the beginning part of the week so he could return for military training. Our people, on their own initiative, wrote up this letter that you see here and put it in the dash of his car. And they said, listen, as we are coming up in Memorial Day, we wanted to show you and your family our appreciation for your service. And as a small token of our appreciation, we saw your change oil light, so we changed your oil for free, and we topped off your tank. Well, guess what that customer did with that? He posted it on Facebook. Now, what do you think that did for changing or updating or uplifting the image of that dealership? And you can see that there are several likes and shares on the right. In fact, I shared it, and I had a bunch more likes on it. We have a couple more shares here, including Jeff Weiler. So we have more likes, more comments. And if you look under that Jeff Weiler one, what do you see? 2 more shares. And the next thing you know, this starts going viral. And what we're doing is we're improving and changing our image online just by doing something that wasn't self-serving at all, but social media helped to raise that level for us. All right. So another thing, let's go ahead and look. That is step 3, is to listen to your customers. So I'm going to put on a short video clip from the office where Dwight is trying to sell Andy his car.
Scratch. It's a racing stripe. Bumper sagging. I doubt that very much. This car is crap. I will buy it for next to nothing. How next to? Well, here are your options. You can sell it for parts, drive it off a cliff, you can donate it to a person that you'd like to see die in a car crash, or you can sell it to me, and I'll use it as I would a wagon on my farm. It'll be towed by a donkey. I have to pick one of those? Yes. Can you go over those options again? You know what? You knock $1,500 off the price right now, and I will take it off your hands. It's got to be now. Well, I have the deal. The blue book values. Let's do this thing. 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now. Say it. Do it now. Do it now. Do it. Shake my hand. You will sell me this car. Shake my hand. Yeah. All right.
Now, the scary part is I know some of you are watching this today going, man, that is a great sales tactic, the impending doom. Next time someone's giving me a run around the lot, I'll just go, buy that car. 3, 2, 1. Now. Well, that's not the lesson we're trying to push. But when it comes to listening to your customers, it's actually easier today than it ever has been before. And it's as easy as this. Read your positive and your negative reviews, especially from an independent rating site. DealerRater is a great example because your customers are telling you everything you need to know about what they like and what they don't like. It's just a matter of whether you will listen and act on that. So let's look at this example of a positive review of one of our Honda dealerships. Contacted me immediately after emailing online. Very friendly, great customer service, kept his word every step of the way. Said he would call on certain days, never once let me down. I drove 3 hours to view it. It was everything expected, no surprises. I love my new purchase. So what they're telling you is they like a quick response. They like honesty. They like friendly service. And when they show up, there's no surprises. And how many dealers out there don't have the car when you ask and you say, yeah, we have it, and you figure when they show up, you're just going to switch them off. They don't like that type of behavior. How about some other examples? Excellent service on short notice for somebody who wants to get their car fixed. If it breaks, can I get it fixed or come in today if need be? I loved using the internet to get a price quote on the car I chose online. From my start on the internet till she drove home about 6 hours. That's from the search to the lead submission to coming in, test driving the car, closing the deal, and leaving. So the time thing we're going to see is a recurring thing we're going to build upon. All right, step 4. I've got good news. I did have the Tupperware Dorkmaster 1200 lunchbox, but that was not my first car as a teenager, or I probably wouldn't be around today. Even though it does kind of look like a sweet ride now looking back. But your 4th step is to give online shoppers what they're looking for. I've made another video for you doing the Google Autocomplete, and this time I want you to look what car shoppers are looking for from you. All right, so what were some of the things that online shoppers are looking for? Well, they value price quotes, trade-in valuation, monthly payment calculators. I've got some good news. I'm going to share these videos after the session. I will tweet them. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll put them on Google+, Facebook, and I'm sure Eliana will send them out as well. But the bottom line is, did you notice what my last search was for? Who are the best car dealers in Cincinnati? Because ultimately, that's what car shoppers want to know. Who's the best dealer where I live to buy the car that I want? And did you notice that in that search, the #1 result was the Jeff Weiler Automotive family? Because we communicated why they should buy from us. That ties back to that step 1, right? Well, some other things you can do is to feed in your positive reviews to show them why they should choose you. And this is just an example. I have a DealerOn RSS feed of positive reviews. But even better is when you can post a testimonial video to let your shoppers share with others why they chose you. And I just spent a couple Saturdays taking these clips, asking customers buying cars why they chose Jeff Weiler.
I recommend Jeff Weiler because I feel like they have my best interest at heart. I feel like they were fair and honest to deal with, and it's a place that I would send my mother back to.
I would recommend Jeff Weiler because they're patient, they're consistent. They took a lot of time out, obviously, to show me the car in great detail, and they're just generally nice people.
I would recommend Jeff Weiler because they have the automobile that you want. They're great to work with and very trustworthy.
I would recommend Jeff Weiler because I don't feel like they are a super high-pressure dealership. They've been great dealing with back and forth via email and working with me on pricing.
The salespeople are very friendly and helpful. The internet was easy to use. The cars at Jeff Weiler are great.
I would recommend Jeff Weiler because they're very good, they're hands-on, and they have a lot of vehicles in stock.
So I would recommend Jeff Weiler because they were friendly, efficient, and I walked away happy.
I would recommend Jeff Weiler because the area is very nice, the people here are magnificent, and they are very personable, and they have very nice cars.
I would recommend Jeff Weiler as far as buying a new car or a used car from the standpoint that when I've gone online before, I've looked up the trade-in value for my vehicle that I'm trading in and found the upfront pricing for the vehicle that I want to trade for. I've had great relationships with the salespeople involved. They've given me an honest price for the car I'm trading in and a good price for the car I'm buying. So typically all of it's right there on the website for you to look up. You can get your black book on the car you're trading in and find whatever vehicle you're looking for.
And you notice it's funny that the one person that said how simple it was to use the internet was the oldest customer that I had in there. Oh, so here's my second 70 the trade we can follow, and that is using modern technology. And hey, I mean, Lee Majors, $6 million man, I mean, this was the most modern technology available back in 1974. Let's go ahead and look at the original trailer to this show that I loved so much back then.
A man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man.
Oh, I meant to pause it there, but the point I was trying to show was that was 1974 modern technology, and it looks the same as our DMS today, almost 50 years later. So I brought the house down when I did that originally, and the NADA might kick me out with the Reynolds presence. But when it comes to using modern technology, dealers are going to need to do that to be successful in the future. So my fifth step to survive in the future is to make your showroom a place they want to visit. Does your dealership look like it did when it was open 50, 60 years ago? Or have you modernized it with a nice, friendly showroom that's well lit? All right, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, that's all good stuff, but let's talk about the digital crisis that is slowly killing your dealership, because that's it right there. Your showroom traffic has dwindled next to nothing compared to what it used to be. In fact, it has gone down to basically Your shopper will visit one dealership in that purchasing decision. And if you do not do everything correctly, you will not be the dealership they choose. And I call this the series of gates. Because if you make one mistake in the process of them trying to buy a car, you can get eliminated very quickly. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to hand it off to the poll question to Eliana, and then we'll come back and give you a little bit more detail. All right. And by the way, that was really a nice trip back to my childhood with the $6 Million Man. Man, I used to love that show. Okay, audience, we have a poll question for you. Please look at your screen and please vote. Please take into consideration getting involved in these poll questions. They really help us try and figure out what's happening in your dealership and all across the nation. So the question is, do you currently send out price quotes to online customers? Please select one of the following answers. Is the answer yes? Or is the answer only if they ask? Is the answer never? Because some dealerships do have a never send out a price quote policy. Or is it I want to, but I am not allowed? So whatever the answer is, we want to know. Once we get a majority of the votes in, we'll close the poll and share the results. And I have to ask, Kevin, with all this nostalgia that you're bringing up today, do you have a lot of this stuff still hanging around your house? Does your wife let you keep it around? I won't deny I did have the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. The animals in the house weren't too thrilled with Evel flying up and down the hallway, and I tried to pretend it was for my nephews, but I did have a little bit of fun with it. Well, all right. All right, so, we have Cecil writing in, I have the Fonzie lunchbox. So, thank you so much. I was going to do a little shout out to him at the end. So, yeah, Cecil flaunts that in front of me all the time. He's one of my sales managers. He won the lunchbox I always wanted. Cecil, you're killing him. You're killing him. Okay, well, guess what? We have a majority of the audience. Almost everyone's voted, so thank you, audience. Thank you so much for getting involved with our poll question today. We're going to close this poll and share the results. If you're ready, Kevin, here we go. 69% of today's online audience said yes, they do currently send out price quotes to online customers. Now, a quarter of today's audience, about 24%, said only if they ask. 3% said never, and 4% said, I want to, but I'm not allowed. Kevin, is that what you were expecting? I'm telling you, I'm surprised, because I've been doing this long enough to remember when nobody would send out a price quote. Really? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to forward up, and I'm going to explain this series of gates. Because if you want to understand how customers are narrowing down to one dealership, it essentially works like this. If I'm searching for a new Chevy Silverado and I do a search and you don't have it in inventory, you've already been eliminated from consideration. But let's say I've got 10 dealers that have that Silverado, and 3 of those dealers use stock photos. Well, you know what? If I'm going to drop $30,000 on a new truck, I want to see real pictures. So I'm going to eliminate those 3. I'm going to be down to 7. And then on those other 7, a couple of the sites say call for pricing because they don't want to put pricing online. Well, I know that game. I'm going to get the runaround, so I'm going to remove those couple from consideration. And then I'm going to submit a lead to each of the remaining dealerships. 1 responds in 5 minutes, 1 responds in 4 hours, and a couple respond the next day, and 1 doesn't respond at all. In a matter of a few minutes, I've narrowed it down to 1 dealership. And I'm making this a simple example, but it's a good portrayal of what happens in today's modern market. If you don't provide the information or what they're looking for, you're most likely going to get eliminated from consideration and not be that one dealer that they come to visit. So, making your showroom a place they want to visit starts with what you're doing online. In addition, are you telling them why they should buy from you? Are you showing them why they should buy from you? Is there anything else you can do? I'm going to use another movie clip to show you what Kurt Russell did in used cars to attract people to his showroom. Let's take a look at that.
This man Roy L. Bukes, this man doesn't lie. This man gives you a special guarantee, warranty. I mean, beautiful. It's up to you. It's your decision. One who hesitates is lost. Hey, will you don't tell? Come back here. Oh. Hi there. How you doing? Say, this your $10? You know, I saw it floating underneath the car and picked it up. There you are, Mr. What's your name? Stanley Kowalski. Polish, eh? What a coincidence. Rudy Polanski, how are you? Hey, I like that watch, Stan. Great shoes. Love them. Thanks. So, Stan, you want to buy this Buick Centurion, huh? Good choice. Smart man. You got good taste. I'll tell you something. A lot of people have this. Nice to see somebody finally walk on this lot who knows a good car season, I'll tell you. So, we read it up? Yeah, well, actually, I was just looking. Oh, hey, terrific. Terrific. That's what we're here for, Stan. Here you can look, browse, peek, touch, feel, taste, smell, do anything you want, take all the time you want. Nobody's going to pressure anybody around here, Stan. You know something else, Stan? I really think you ought to buy this Buick. I think you ought to buy it today, right now. You want to know why? Because this Buick is you. The color is you. Look at it. This is your car. Stanley Kowalski is Buick Centurion convertible. And I know what you're thinking, Stan. You're thinking, can I afford to buy a car like this? Huh, am I right? Seriously, Stan, you can't afford not to buy a car like this, and I'm going to make it easy on you. When you add this whole thing up, taking into kind of inflation rate, insurance savings, gas savings, easy comfort, you're going to come out $10,000 ahead to making this deal. Well, the prestige alone of owning a Buick Centurion convertible can't even measure in terms of dollars and cents, am I right?
All right. So, Eliana, what did Kurt Russell do to attract that guy over to his lot? Did you catch that?
You mean other than fishing the $10 across the street?
There you go. Yeah, I would. And today's lesson is to get a fishing rod and a stack of $10 bills. No, in your virtual dealership, what Kurt Russell was doing was he was offering an incentive to get them to choose his dealership to be the one they go visit. Now, without promoting several solutions that are out there, suffice it to say there's more than one solution to put an incentive on your virtual dealership to try and get those people to choose you. Now, our final step is going to be speeding up the process, which, as you saw, is a very common complaint amongst people with modern-day car buying. Our last video clip is going to tie in here with vacation and buying the family truckster.
Very exciting one. Where? Well, there she is. Where? Right here. The wagon.
Dad, this is not the car you ordered.
Take it easy, Rusty. Ed, this is not the car I ordered. I distinctly ordered the Antarctic Blue Super Sports Wagon with the CB and the optional Rally Fun Pack.
You didn't order the metallic P?
Metallic P? No, Antarctic Blue. The sports wagon. This isn't even the right model.
You know, I think you're right. I don't think this is the car. This is the new Wagon Queen family truckster. This is a damn fine automobile. If you want my honest opinion, it beats the hell out of the sports wagon, but I want to make you happy, huh? Davenport! I'll get to the bottom of this. Yes, Mr. Ed. Mr. Griswold ordered a blue sports wagon. Where is it?
I don't know, sir.
I know it must have happened. It didn't come in.
Ed, I'm not your ordinary everyday fool, okay? Now, I'd like my Antarctic Blue Super Sports Wagon right now, and if you can't get it for me, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. Where's my old car?
I'm just as upset as you are, believe me. Davenport! Get Mr. Griswold's car back and bring it back here! I can get you the wagon. There's no problem there. The problem is it might take 6 weeks. Now, I owe it to myself to tell you, Mr. Griswold, that if you're thinking of taking the drive cross-country, this is the automobile you should be using, the Wagon Queen family truckster. You think you hate it now, but wait till you drive it.
I don't want to drive it. I just want my old car back, okay? I'm not falling for this bit.
No way. Let's go, Russ.
All right, once again, I'm going to make you ask yourself a question. Are we a slower paced society today or faster? And I put that picture down there in the lower right-hand corner for a reason. So I want you to think about this for a second. When you go grocery shopping, you're done shopping and you go up to the front, what's the first thing you're doing? You're thinking about which is the shortest line, or can I use the express line, because you want to have an expedited buying process. We are a fast-paced society today. Well, you could see from the Google Autocomplete, we exasperate our customers with these lengthy car buying processes. And a lot of the reason is because we have a 10-step buying process, for example, and when a customer shows up, the sales manager is locked and stocked that you're going to run through all 10 steps even if they don't want to. Well, we need to start integrating flexibility into our selling process. And I believe that starts with a trial close in the showroom. That if a customer comes in and tells you, hey, listen, I looked at the car, I got your online price quote, that's the car I want, that's the price I want to pay, why not take them straight to F&I at that point and sell them the car rather than starting from square one and holding them up for time? But I want you to think of something else in addition to this. In a market, in a time where dealers are struggling to make gross because of the leveling of information, this is an opportunity. Because when you need a gallon of milk and you choose to go to the corner convenience store over the grocery store, do you pay more for that milk or less? You pay more willingly because you're willing to pay a higher price for an expedited buying process. And I'm convinced that one of the greatest opportunities open to the market today are to the dealers that figure out how to deliver an expedited buying process in return for additional gross. Now, as I wrap up today, you need to ask yourself this. As a dealership, am I going to ignore the changes that are in the market and decide to keep swimming upstream? Because you're either going to get eaten by the bear there, but even if you get past them, all salmon do eventually die. Or, as a former naval aviator, I got the distinct pleasure and joy of being trained by Marine Corps drill instructors. And one of the things they constantly pounded in your head were these words: adapt and overcome. The situation is always changing. Adapt and overcome. Dealers that choose to adapt and overcome in this biggest change that the market has ever seen with automotive and the internet are going to be the ones that thrive and survive in the future. So, your takeaways today. I showed you how Google Autocomplete allows you to see exactly what your customers are looking for, and I'm going to give you that video. The decline in your showroom traffic is a reflection of your customers shopping online, and that is the digital crisis that is killing dealerships that won't get on board. Modern dealers must provide what customers are looking for, or they risk being eliminated from consideration. And finally, encouraging customers to visit your dealership can often be just as simple as offering an incentive. And with that, I'm going to hand off to Eliana.
Kevin, thank you so much. What a fantastic presentation. Very informative and entertaining. So we do appreciate it. Audience, if you have any questions for Kevin Frye, now's a great time to send them in, as we are going to be starting our Q&A session with him in just a moment. Before we do that, though, we have a little bit of business to take care of. Now, it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, well, I announced that our good friend, Kevin Frye, is giving away a fantastic prize today on the webinar. One of you lucky webinar attendees will be winning Kevin's favorite toy while growing up in the 70s. Today you'll have a chance to win an authentic Evel Knievel stunt cycle. Now, this would be a great gift to share with the kids at Christmas, or, let's be honest, be a hit at the dealership showroom on a slow day. All you have to do is answer a simple question about the presentation. So, get ready. First one to write in the correct response will be walking away with this amazing prize today. So get to your keyboards, and good luck, everyone. And I will say that this question is a great question. However, the answer was not actually given during the presentation, so you may have to Google it. So good luck, everyone. The question is, what is Evel Knievel's real full legal name. We're looking for first, middle, and last name. What is Evel Knievel's real, full, legal name? First, middle, and last name. Oh my gosh, we actually have a winner. I can't believe it. Oh, now everyone's getting into it. Okay. Yes, we have a winner. Thank you, everyone, for playing along. And the correct answer is Robert Craig Knievel, and the first person to write in that correct response is Courtney Mills. How do you like that? A girl won today's prize.
Courtney.
Courtney Mills, please write on in and let us know what dealership you're from so we can give you a proper congratulations. And thank you, everyone, for playing along today. And Kevin, I love, this is like the most unique webinar ever. Thank you so much for bringing it to life with all of this cool, great, awesome stuff from the 70s, the nostalgia. I am just being overwhelmed by nostalgia right now. Courtney Mills, I have no idea what dealership you're from, but congratulations. And of course, we want to thank Kevin Frye for his incredible generosity. Oh, Courtney Mills is with Jeff D'Ambrosio Chevrolet, Country CDJR, and Jeff D'Ambrosio Mitsubishi in Oxford, Pennsylvania. Not too far from me. Thank you, Courtney, and congratulations.
Oh, that's great.
Congratulations. I just want to know, Courtney, you're going to have to write in and tell me, are you going to keep it at the showroom, or are you taking it home to the kiddies? Tell me what you're going to do with it, Courtney, because we want to know. Kevin, did you have something before?
You know, I did. I still have my one last trait that we can learn from one of my 70s heroes, and it's a question I often get, and that is that, you know, Kevin, did you ever get that lunchbox you always wanted? And the sad part is I gave this lunchbox away, and my sales manager at one of my stores won it, so he flaunts this thing in front of me all the time. But I never got the Fonz lunchbox, but Eliana, I got something even better. I was actually able to meet the Fonz at a local car show a few years ago. He was a super nice person, and it was just a great opportunity to meet a boyhood hero. I couldn't say nicer things for him. So with that,
okay,
I'll
is
open
cool.
up to any questions we have.
That is so cool. And by the way, was he cool?
He was cool, and you know, the sad part was the show, when I went there was nobody in line to see the Fonz. I stepped right up and talked to him about 15 minutes, but they had a couple Nickelodeon stars upstairs, and the line was like 4 to 5 hours long. So I guess the Fonz isn't as well known as he used to be when I was growing up, but still well loved by my generation.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. That's a great picture. And man, I wish I could meet. He was one of my childhood heroes too. He was awesome. I never missed a show of Happy Days. By the way, Courtney Mills wrote back in and she said she's taking it to the kiddo. So congratulations, Courtney, again. We wish you the very best of luck with that. And let's get started with some of these great questions from our audience. Kevin, if you'd like, you're more than welcome to turn on your webcam so people can see how cute you are. And our first question comes to you from Brad. Brad says, I noticed Weiler CDJ posts new car prices online. Are your stores one price?
No, we're not one price, and I mean, we're a very large group, so we have multiple car brands. You're going to find a mix of how they're priced online for new cars because, as most of you are aware of, many of the manufacturers, you can't deviate from MSRP. And then for the other brands, it's going to depend on market conditions, on how we price those vehicles to attract interest.
Great. Brad, thank you so much for the question. We actually have another question from Brad, which we'll get to in just a moment. Next question comes to us from Joshua. He says, he appreciated the poll question, by the way, that we asked earlier, and he also wanted to know if you thought dealers should give trade numbers to online customers. What do you think about that, Kevin?
Absolutely. In fact, you know, one of the best tools out there is going to be like a black book value your trade. I think it's important to understand a couple things. That when you give a price code, regardless of what you give, they're still going to want to negotiate when they come in. And when it comes to the trade-in, you're really running into the same issue. This is nothing different than we haven't dealt with as dealers for years and years. The biggest obstacle you're trying to overcome is to get them to visit your showroom, to visit the dealership. And at that point, most people are very well trained on how to handle the price and how to handle the trade. What I'm trying to emphasize is don't eliminate yourself from consideration by failing to provide their information they're looking for when they're online, or that gate's going to be closed on you.
Joshua, I hope you got a lot out of that answer, and great answer, Kevin. Okay, next question comes to us from Tom. He says, do you subscribe to having the customer evaluate their trade-in? Okay, so it was basically the same question, but I'm curious, when some other people in the industry who've been presenters here, they ask people to come in and bring the car in before they even get the sales process started.
Well, I'm not sure if well, we're certainly going to have to physically see the trade to finalize the trade-in valuation. I'm not sure if I understand the gist of the question. I mean, we're still going to work the lead online, and when they come in, if they have a trade, we'll work it at that time with the number we gave them and see if it makes sense.
Okay, now, I don't know if this is going to surprise anyone, but I'm going to put this out there because I, as most people know, have never worked in a dealership. But have I bought cars from dealerships? Sure. Do all my friends buy cars? Yeah, absolutely. So let me just tell you this. There are a lot of customers out there who will look for a car online, find the car they like, negotiate the price online before coming into the dealership, and then once they come into the dealership, then they mention the trade-in because they think they're going to get a better deal then. What do you have to say to the audience today with consumers who do that? Because actually I know a lot of people who do that.
That's perfectly fine. I mean, hey, you've already won the battle because they've showed up at the dealership, right? The difference is if they're going to eliminate you from consideration because they can't get a trade-in value or some idea of it. And the other nice thing, most traditional old school sales processes are based upon building pressure, building pressure, building pressure. When you can build value into that process rather than pressure, you're going to have much more success with today's modern shopper. And giving a price quote or giving them a value builder like a trade-in evaluation tool helps you to be successful in those efforts.
Great. Okay, I do want to get to this great question. Actually, a few people asked this one. Brad, for instance, he says, the customer who agrees to the online price, well, their shopping experience will be fast. But what do you do to speed up the process in other ways? Bill had the same kind of question. He says, can we get some example on how to speed up the delivery process? So that's Brad and Bill. So, Kevin, tell us, how do you firm up the time frame it takes to get that 10-step process?
I don't want to give away all our secrets, but obviously anything you can get done ahead of time. The biggest thing that I've suggested and what I've seen is complaint amongst people out there is that if you're an internet team leader, or you're working a lead, and your customer is set on their vehicle, they're set on the price, they're ready for the deal. When they come in, the frustration comes in when a sales manager says, no, you need to go step 1, step 2, step 3, and run that person through the entire process when they're ready to buy. That's why I'm talking about having the flexibility of a trial close or knowing that they're ready there at that point. If they've agreed on a price and it's a good price you put out there at gross, I want to take an F&I and start closing the deal at that point. Do I still have you, Eliana?
I'm sorry, I was talking. I was on mute. Just educate me for a second. What is the holdup in that 10-step buying process? What does take so long?
It could be several things. I mean, if you're doing the test drive, you're doing the walk around, the sales manager decides they want to start going back and forth after you've already got a price. I mean, those are all things that can slow down the process. Not having the paperwork pre-staged and filled out in F&I when you already have that information. I mean, those are different things that you can get completed to try and make the process as quick as possible. I can tell you amongst our brands, we have a lot of Honda buyers that are prepared to buy the vehicle at that price. They come in, they want the convenience to be in and out. And that's not surprising because Hondas are really treated as a commodity anyhow when they're shopped. And when you can pre-stage and get most of that stuff done so when they arrive it's ready and you can crank through that, then they're going to be much happier getting out the door in an hour, hour and a half.
Fantastic. Okay, by the way, we have some really great questions from our audience. We have about a handful of them left, so I'm going to get through those as quickly as possible so that everyone else can get back to selling some cars. Next question comes to us from Joshua. He says, can Kevin provide thoughts and feedback on having an online trade appraisal process? I'm trying to get our VPs to implement either BBO or AutoTrader TIM. My preference is the AutoTrader TIM since it is more robust. But Joshua, Kevin, do you have any advice for Joshua on how he can implement a online trade appraisal process that will work for most dealerships?
That could probably be a whole separate webinar. I'm going to suffice it to say this. There's a lot of stuff online on AutoTrader Trade-in Marketplace. At the end of the day, your dealership has to be bought in, and it needs to be integrated into the culture of the showroom. If that's not taking place and they're not fully using the tool, you're probably going to fail. We have a store that's very successful with it. I've had another store that wasn't very successful with it, and that's the primary difference. It needs to be adopted and implemented into the showroom process as well.
Great question, Joshua, and thank you so much for your candor, Kevin. Next question comes to us from Brad. He says, with more people shopping more online, will BDC departments and traditional sales teams have to merge? Kevin, I want you to put on your Karnak.
Oh, good Lord. I mean, you can debate that all day. That's one of the hottest things going. I'm going to tell you now, I'm not a BDC fan.
Really?
I'm in line with Chris Hill. And he's outspoken and has the courage to say it. A BDC truly is a Band-Aid because you can't get your people to do what they should be doing. And a modern-day salesman should know how to work internet leads because that is a significant, well more than significant majority of where everybody is shopping. At the Jeff Waller Automotive family, every single salesperson and manager is trained on how to work internet leads. If you don't want to work internet leads, you will not be working at this organization. If you're a salesperson, you would be foolish not to want to do that. So our approach is that all salespeople are internet salespeople because a lead is a lead is a lead. And if you know that's where the market is going, then why don't you
get on board?
Man up and get it done.
Well, boy, oh boy, you've had some people who wrote in on both sides of that conversation, Kevin.
I know to get started. So.
Okay, well, let's get on to our next question. A great one, by the way, from Brad. This one comes to us from Jim. He says, what's your best strategy for having the right used car inventory on the lot for your market area? Do you have a crystal ball? What do you have, Kevin? You roll some dice?
There are so many different tools out there for selecting your inventory. I would suggest this. There is great data available, vAuto, First Look, whatever you might be using for identifying the cars that perform best in your market. But you have to balance that with the knowledge of a good used car manager that knows your very local area, what works well. And the other thing you have to be careful of is that when the reporting tool you have is telling you that the F-150 truck is the truck you must have on your lot and is telling every other dealer in your same area that same message, then you're going to be probably going to auction paying a lot of money for that vehicle. So with any of our modern day tools, as great as they are, you still need to balance them with good common sense input when making those decisions.
Completely agreed. Great question, Jim. Awesome, Kevin. Okay, this one comes to you from Sandra. Sandra says, at our dealership, we seem to have to work hard to prompt the internet lead in calls, emails, repeated emails, no response, and then only to finally find out they went elsewhere. Do you think this is a result from an inadequate website?
No, it's just the nature of our market. I mean, you always hear the expression cherry picking, right? And cherry picking is when you get the lead that on the first call, the first email, you're in touch with them, you set the appointment, and you sell the car. what that person has done is they have shopped you stealthily till the very last second when they were ready to buy a car. That's when they submitted a lead, and that's the lead that everyone wants. But there's also a large group of people that will contact you early on with no intent to buy the car for 30 days plus. In fact, more than half of internet sales will take place after that 30-day point. As a good internet salesperson, you need to learn to be patient. You need to build value into the process as you're watching on them. And of course, at the end of the day, if you're closing 15%, you're doing well. The majority of them are still going to end up doing something else.
Sandra, thank you so much for your question. Okay, last one, Kevin. You ready? This one comes to you from our friend Joey Abna. He says, do you use managed chat or chat in-house? If managed, how are they handling price and availability? So I guess the first question, do you use chat on your website?
We do. Chat is a phenomenal tool. We use managed chat, and I'll say this. To do it well, a managed chat solution is great in getting the contact information, answering questions, and submitting a lead. When we've done it in-house, we've had very mixed response. An example I always use is somebody chats in, do you still have the 04 Honda Civic? And our answer is no, end of chat. That doesn't work. When you use a managed solution that a lot of dealers are using, you're basically distributing the cost of sharing that talent to handle the chat, and it works out to be a pretty good cost per lead. So I think chat is a very important tool in understanding that the majority of your shoppers are shopping during the weekdays, during work hours. There are quite a few that want to chat because they don't want to be heard on the phone at work shopping for a car talking to you.
Right. Joey, thank you so much for the great question. And one last comment comes to you from Subi. Says, Kevin Frye killed it, and I couldn't agree more. Kevin, you were fantastic. I would love to have you back on the show anytime. You let me know, okay?
All right. I really enjoyed it. It's been a good time.
Oh, believe me, the pleasure was all ours. And audience, thank you so much for your great questions. I want to let you know, of course, we're past the top of the hour. Any questions that weren't answered during the time allotted will be emailed directly by Kevin Frye by email. But if you want to get in touch with Kevin Frye, well, all of his contact information is right there. And people are already writing and saying you did a great job too, Kevin. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. I also want to remind our wonderful audience that a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording will be emailed to you later today for your reference. Please share it with friends and colleagues. This was an awesome one. Today's webinar will also be posted online within 24 hours. So just go to DealerOn.com/webinars and click on the link on the right-hand side that says On-Demand Webinars. You can also check out our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars too. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to receive a short survey in just a minute. So please fill it out and let Kevin know what a great job he did today. We're always looking for great feedback from our audience. Today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. Now, I want to let you know, invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next webinar. And it's a doozy. Increase your sales and profits with Jim Ziegler's social media strategy. Oh yeah, we don't mess around over here. We got Jim Ziegler over here to take a deep dive into his proven social media techniques and strategies. In this 1-hour session, Jim goes live on the internet, taking the participants on a guided tour of his entire social media spectrum. The self-proclaimed alpha dog will reveal how to build and nurture relationships with thousands of relevant friends and followers, and how to organize and motivate a loyal following of raving fans. In this eye-opening presentation, Jim Ziegler discusses relationship marketing and how to leverage relationships beneficially for increased sales and profits. Whether you're a dealer principal or general manager, sales pro, or a sales manager, BDC manager, or internet sales professional, this presentation will dramatically affect your sales and profits. Period. So if you're ready to learn the best social media strategies, weld lifelong relationships, and solidify customer loyalty, well, then spend an hour with the one and only Jim Ziegler. This will be another fabulous presentation by your friends at DealerOn. And don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we have some amazing webinar subjects planned for the end of this year. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, Hey, feel free to contact me directly. Again, my name is Eliana Raggio. I love hearing from you. I'm on all the automotive social networks, plus Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Google+. So track me down online or email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have yourselves a good one.